What is up, guys? Welcome back to Dan's Reviews, and today we're going to be doing our weekly review for this week's episode of the Walking Dead television series on AMC. This one's going to be doing a video review for this week's episode, which is Season 7, Episode 11 this time for the Walking Dead, and that is of Hot Styles and Calamities, Episode 11. Now, this one is, this is a tough one for me to review. I mean, yeah, and I am going to explain why. It's because we've had two solid episodes coming back this half, and I feel like this one was just, it was overhyped. I mean, it was so overhyped. I really did not enjoy this episode at all. And I'm going to explain why. Now, again, spoiler warning, if you're not caught up to The Walking Dead, if you haven't seen Hot Styles and Calamities episode, make sure to check it out. However, there isn't very much to include. Now, but there are still some big spoilers in this one. So, basically, why I'm not a big fan of this one is because it seems like every single time we get an episode, at least almost every single time, we get an episode with the Sanctuary, something is, just something isn't right. I mean, we had episode 3, which was a Sanctuary-centric episode with Daryl, and you had all that kind of stuff, Negan, and, Dwight going out killing that guy, and you had some other stuff, we're on easy street, right? And you had the other stuff, yeah, and we had some different things like that in episode 3. That one wasn't enjoyable for me. I thought it was just an okay episode. If you see my review of episode 3, you'll know what I'm talking about. And you know what? I'll link it in the description so you guys can really see what I mean by how I really did not like episode 3 at all. I thought it was a little slow. This one felt the same. Now, I would say, to be honest with you, though, if I had to put the top 10 worst episodes of The Walking Dead, and that's what I'm going to do this summer, I don't think this one would be in it, but it would be close. I don't really like this episode. But there are still some things that are okay, and it seems like every season we at least get one episode per year that is usually always bad. And I can't say we don't get them. This year we've gotten at least, I'd say, 2 or 3 out of these 11 that are just not that great at all. I wasn't a big fan of episode 2. I wasn't a big fan of episode 3. Episode 6 is growing on me, the Tara and Heath one, because we might see the Oceanside later, so that one's not as bad. And then this one's kind of bad, too, because, okay, let's just get into the review, because I keep rambling here, but, alright, so we got the beginning, we've already seen this part, the sneak peek there, they see that Fat Joey's dead, Negan's coming, Dwight's freaking out, and it is a pretty intense beginning, you have Eugene, right, he gets there, and you see that she's actually giving him, the girl that's in charge of him there, and she calls him Haircut. That's funny. I actually do find that funny. Anyway, so then she basically gives him a nice room, a nice place to kind of stay, and that's going to be his home, right? Just like another savior. And then I'm thinking to myself, why didn't they give that to Daryl? But then I was like, well, no, he didn't take Eugene just to make the group weaker. He took Eugene because he had value when it comes to making bullets and all of the different kind of scientific things. He had a decent value, and he wanted that. Negan wanted that, so he decided, okay, I'll take him, right? And also because of course Rosita shot Lucille, which also doesn't make any sense because you'd think he'd just capture Rosita for shooting Lucille. Yeah, she wasn't the one that made the bullet, but still, she was the one that shot Lucille. You'd think he'd capture Rosita, and I definitely, if I was Negan, I would, to be honest. But anyway, so then we get the intro credits. I really like this one. Somebody knocks on the door, you don't know who it is, and Dwight's freaking out because he thinks it's Negan, and then all of a sudden his guys come in and start beating him up. And you get Negan just, he's standing there. He's standing there with Lucille just like, just like nothing. You can't even see what the guys are doing. Like, you can clearly see they're beating him up there, but you can't even see him because Negan's just blocking he's just blocking them like this. So I'm like, okay. So that was awesome. Really good posing, right? Anyway, so then after the intro, we see Dwight. He actually slept in Daryl's cell. And then he said, after everything, who are you, Dwight? I'm Negan. And then he lets him out. And he said he has a missing wife. And I was like, what? Because, there were scenes in the promos where Dwight was going out there, and it looked like he was looking for Daryl, but in actuality, he was actually looking for Sherry. And of course, my prediction was basically right. I said there's a very big possibility that it was Sherry, and I meant it when I said it was Sherry that let him out. We found that out in this episode. So, really, really cool. We're probably going to do a video this week talking about, do I think Sherry is actually dead or not? It's a big question for me because I'm really, really shocked. So, basically we get the note from Sherry, and she basically says, we'll meet each other again, and he brought, wine and, or not wine, beer and, pretzels, right? And she wasn't there, and I thought that was really, really crazy. You saw the engagement ring, the picture of them, and you can see the picture of Dwight before he gets the face burnt, which I thought was pretty crazy. We've already seen that in episode 6 of season 6 when he captured Daryl, but I thought it was weird to see him without the burnt face. It's just weird, and especially on Talking Dead and everything. I'm just used to seeing Austin Emilio with the burnt face in the TV show, but. And then we get some other things. We get Eugene, and when he turned on that radio, we're on Easy Street. I'm like, oh my God, not that stupid song again. And I'm sure a lot of people were thinking that same thing too. So we get some other things. We get Negan asking Eugene if he's a smarty pants, and I am indeed a smarty pants. So that's probably my favorite line from Eugene this week. Eugene is awesome. Like, if you want to get a good laugh from Walking Dead, he doesn't smile very often. But if you want to laugh, if you want to get a good laugh from a character in Walking Dead, go watch any episode with Eugene. I'm just saying. Yeah, I am indeed a smarty pants, right? So, I like that. That's my favorite line of this episode. I really like that. And it's interesting. So then he says that, he can be with his wives or whatever, give you a massage or whatever, but nothing, serious, right? I'm just saying, I think that was, I think that's pretty Negan-like, right? And of course he doesn't want his wives being with Eugene, so, yeah. He tells him, no sex. Anyway, so then we have his wives there or whatever, and he sets off a cool explosion and some cool scientific things or whatever. It's really, really cool. I do like it, and they were kind of freaking out. And then basically they find him very intelligent, so there's this, one of Negan's wives is basically trying to kill herself. So, she basically, and she's drinking a lot and everything like that, and basically they want Eugene to, give her some pills so she can die in her sleep. And man, it's rough. It's really rough to see characters like that. It's really rough. And Eugene doesn't do it because he was going to do it, but then he saw what happened with the doctor, and that part I didn't like this episode much because I thought it was pretty boring. I was bored quite a few times, but man, that part was awesome when he took the doctor, and first he gave took the iron, and Dwight didn't even do anything. It wasn't the doctor's fault. Like, seriously, he just let him die. I thought that was just a terrible move on Dwight's part. And he burned his face, he was like this close, and then he said, I'm sorry, and he's like, which, if you think about it, I think a burnt face would be better than just dying overall and him throwing you into the fire. And I was like, oh my God, dude, as everybody watches. And then Eugene's scared at that point. He's like, okay, I'm not doing it. And then he can't really help the wives anymore, so then they say he's a coward and all that stuff just because they won't do what they're asking, which really doesn't make any sense. It's just, who would take that risk? And I was even thinking about that myself. And anyway, so then basically Eugene tells them that it was for Negan. And then they leave, right? And then Negan comes in at the end of the episode. By the look on his face, it looked like he knew about it. It looked like he knew about it. And I don't know if he did. He might have. It looks like he did when he was talking to him. He's like, I know you don't like me, that type of deal. So I think he did know, but I was like, man. And also, especially, I thought, knowing Walking Dead, I was like, when somebody knocked on the door and it was like it was 10 o'clock, I was like, well, is this the end right here, And it wasn't. I thought they were going to leave it a mystery on who was at the door or whatever. I don't know. I feel like they do that in Walking Dead, where you can almost guess when a cliffhanger's coming, and I got it wrong this time. But didn't you guys think that it might have been left on a cliffhanger there when you heard the door knock? It almost felt like the end right there. But then Eugene says that he's Negan, and I was like, you know what? That's Eugene. Like, I'm not gonna say much about it. That's Eugene right there. He's doing what he can to survive. And honestly, he does have a good opportunity there. And who says he's coming back to Rick's group anytime soon? So honestly, I think he's just doing it for now. And when he gets the chance, then he'll escape. And I honestly think Dwight probably will too. So I'm guessing probably both of them. I could see that in All Out War. Once the war's going on and they have an equal amount of people, then Eugene and Dwight will take a run for it and try to get out of there. But then you think to yourself, well, does he actually mean he's Negan? Because he says I've been for a while. So I think we're going to talk about that this week in a discussion topic. Very, very interesting. I really find it very, very interesting. And then you have Eugene and Dwight at the end talking. So let me know what you guys think about this episode. This was a good episode. It wasn't horrible, but I just didn't like it because there were a lot of dry parts, and I think that's why I was kind of about this episode. So, but we usually get one every second half. It's like every half season we at least get one episode out of those 8 episodes that are usually kind of stale. And I almost feel like this one's going to be the one for this half. But, we'll have to see. I'm pretty sure the rest are going to be great. The last 5 episodes are probably going to be amazing. So I'm not counting on seeing another slow episode like this again. But it's part of the story. This is part of the story, and we're getting through it. So let me know what you guys think about this episode. Write your comments below, and I'll see you guys for the predictions really soon. Peace.